voice actors.
Um,
We're trying to talk about voiceover. Ooh, what is
it's
yours?
very hot. Oh,
Yours
it's my
says
death before decaf. Yeah,
beating the de. Oh yeah, yeah.
it's so
Mine's the
hot. I can't like. It's
old
like
coffee
this is
shop I used to own. All right.
oh
Yeah, 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 yeah.
scorching, scorching hot right
It
now.
is wonderful to see you all. Let's see. If you are brand new, please go ahead and hit that like and what is it? Like and comment. No, no, like and follow. Why was I not finding
Like,
the follow
follow,
button?
subscribe,
Yes, the
bell for
subscribe.
notifications.
Good
Yep.
gracious. So yes, and remember you have to hit the bell notification. You have to hit
Mm-hmm.
all if you want to get notified when we go live or all that jazz. And
Mm-hmm.
please, as always, leave a comment. Tell us where you're from, what you're doing, all that jazz, and also your questions. We'd
Indeed.
love to get your questions. So today, it's super hot out there, Gabby.
Holy crap.
It is.
So,
Yes.
yeah, with the East Coast is under a heat dome. I don't know what this nonsense is. It is crazy, crazy hot here. And it made me go, we should address, I feel like one of the big elephants in the room that voice actors don't talk about because
Oh
I
my
feel like people
god.
are embarrassed. I feel like they feel like,
Yes.
right, it's an indicator that their studio is not what it should be. And
Oh my
basically,
god, the
it's
heat.
the heat, the heat.
Yes, the heat
So
in the booth.
most of us, we create our booth and we initially are like, sound quality, sound quality, sound quality. And we don't stop to think about what the fact that what we're creating is a little tiny hot box. No
Yes.
ventilation, right?
Yes.
No airflow. And the reality is in the summer, most of us have to turn off our air conditioning so that we get the best audio quality because
Yep.
forced heating and air systems, HVAC, which is what most people have, it's loud. It's loud and it's noisy. And because of that forced air, right, it
Mm-hmm.
picks
Mm-hmm.
up on mic. And unless you either
Mm.
A, really thought this through in the creation of your booth and had ventilation custom created to be dampened into the space so that it would be, not noisy. Or you just severed your booth from the rest of your house from a ventilation
Mm.
standpoint so everybody else is comfortable but you.
Right.
Yeah, either way, we sweat. We sweat. It's hot, it's sticky, it is what it is. So I think the embarrassment thing is the first thing I want to address because I'm always like kind of surprised when people do this and like they're like, "Oh, I have to do all these things in my booth, like you can't flush a toilet when I'm recording, you can't, you have to turn off the AC." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Your house wasn't built to be a studio.
Right.
Why is, yeah, you're making do with the best possible case. You
Oh
bought a
yeah.
house not to be you bought it to be a home, not to be a studio.
Right.
So
Right.
this is normal. This is
Absolutely.
really, really normal stuff. Some people it's restricting the time of day of when they can record because of environmental noise and things that they might run into. And I don't know. I just feel like we all go through it. I feel like it's a rare day when you find a voice actor that's like, I'm super comfortable in my booth. I'm like, yeah, for like 3 months out of the year in the fall and the spring. I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. And it's funny because generally speaking, most of us, at least I think, at least, and I did too, when I created my hobo fort, most of us start with
Hmm.
blankets, some sort of blankets. And it's funny because you don't ever think, right, what blankets are also going to do. Okay. And you don't think also that there is literally, we are running equipment, and depending on what equipment you have, it does generate heat.
He
You
generates
generate heat,
heat.
your equipment generates heat. And sometimes when we're running these things for hours and hours, right? I mean, it gets so hot. I mean, I remember just it's like a sauna, and it just constantly. And it's funny when I bought my Whisper Room. So talking about ventilation, now that we know this is
Mhm.
a common thing we all have, we all go through, and a lot of
Yeah, we
times
do.
people will either build something close to their attic, or they build something in the basement. We're building stuff
I
right, like
mean,
you
you're
said, that's
lucky
away
enough to
from.
have a basement. Yeah,
Right.
you're living the dream.
Yeah, definitely with the basement. So I remember. Oh, and right, you're turning off stuff. I mean, you're constantly turning off stuff because of noise purposes, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of this is when you're first, like I said, when you're first starting out. But even when I bought my Whisper Room, my first time I bought a Whisper Room,
Mhm.
I bought the fan, and then I bought the super, like they claim it, the extra super quiet stuff, so it's quiet. It's not quiet. It's baloney pants. That makes all kinds of noise, and it's not good. It's still hot because they don't pump air in. Their whole thing was the fan is supposed to draw out and then just keep
It
an airflow kind of
doesn't.
going, and did not work.
Nope.
It did not work. So I did do something though that helped. So I would say, like, we'll start with, if you have a Hobo Ford or whatever you're working with before maybe you've built your own or something down the road. But one thing I did to make things better, and I didn't realize it at the time I was doing this, but it was a happy, I guess, consequence,
Mm.
was at the time I felt like I was over treating my space with pillows, with blankets, with so much treatment that I could keep the back open. And because I had so much treatment,
Mm.
that when I was speaking forward, because remember, when you first speak, it goes forward. Now, a lot of
Yep.
us have a screen in front of us, so that
Yep.
inevitably bounces back. You know what I mean? But if you have to the sides of you, if you're, especially if you're sitting down in your booth, if you do enough in front of you and to the sides of you, and you have a crack in the back that you can leave. I mean, if you have enough, it will capture that. So a lot of times, that will help you keep a little bit open. I always say that was the only time, because everything I built since, I can't keep things open, but that was the only time I kept things open. But I was,
Mm.
because I had like probably 6 to 8 inches thick of just materials,
Oh
right? Think
wow.
how thick that is. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it worked wonderfully because it still absorbed everything, and I could keep the back open, so it was cool.
That
You know what I
makes sense.
mean? Oh my goodness. One other thing I did was special and long audiobooks. When I didn't have that, I would record like a page. I got this from someone else, and I would record a page, and then I would go out of the booth and walk around
Mhm.
for a few seconds,
Mhm. Mhm.
cool off, get a sip of water, come back in,
Mhm.
record another page. And I would do that, and it actually worked for a variety. It helped with a lot of things, like,
Mhm.
mental, keeping you mentally going forward, all that kind of stuff. How about you?
Oh
What
geez.
have you done?
I keep a little fan in the booth that, especially if it's a because this is where I run into it. It's directed sessions. Directed sessions in the summer are my hell. I'm laughing. John's comment. Do you remember that level in Super Mario 3 where the sun is trying to kill you? Well, it's a reality now. Yes, precisely.
That's right.
Precisely what we're dealing with.
That is right.
Um,
Yes.
so I I keep this little fan in there, and so when the directors, inevitably go into committee mode and I'm not recording, I flip the fan on just so I
Okay.
have some breeze and
Right.
it's not stifling air. And yes, the other thing I do is I will turn around and open the door behind me to vent it. So same thing. So
Mm.
I'm getting some air circulation because I mean there are times where holy hell, the temp difference in the booth
Hmm.
versus the ambient temperature in the room outside, crazy difference. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'll do those things.
Oh yeah.
I will try to, gosh, this is something I've been guilty of, and I'm sure other people have. Turning it off, turning the AC off, and then forgetting to turn it back on. And 3 or 4 hours later, wondering why the house is sweltering.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and so I have to put little reminders, on my calendar, "May turn the AC back
Oh
on."
my goodness.
Yeah, and I've seen some cool stuff. I've seen people get really inventive. There are ways to make, um, like, they're considered to be non-powered air conditioning units, and there's tutorials online for them where basically you take, like, a 5-gallon, like a Home Depot bucket, and you fill it with ice, and then you outfit it
Yes.
with, like,
Yes.
some
That's
weird
that
things
idea
and
behind that cooler that they've come out with
Yes.
recently, right? Yeah.
And it's shockingly effective, but you also, have
Sure.
to have copious amounts of
There
ice.
is a fan, a little fan, a desktop fan that's supposed to run super silent, and I've seen a lot of people use it. So that is on there on Amazon. There's a variety
Mhm.
of them. But it's tough. It's tough to deal with that. I so like now my space now, it's I okay, so I'll be honest with you, I don't know why. I don't know why it's wonderful, but I don't have issues.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Now, I did something different with this space. So what this space is, well, first I built it because I when I bought this house, we ripped it down to the studs.
Oh,
And then I built the studio. I built kind of
wowie.
a house around my studio,
Oh, wow.
right? So that doesn't happen very right. That
No.
doesn't happen very often. So it's fortunate this one. But so the studio is kind of in the middle of the house on the central floor. First off, right? And the it's walled of course on the outside, but then I have about 6 inches thick of material, but
Mhm.
I didn't put another wall on the inside. So
Okay.
basically, for purpose, I use just material instead of a drywall. So there's drywall on the outside, of course, right? That frames it. But normally you'd have drywall on the outside and then drywall on the inside, right? And then studs in the middle. And you might put
Mhm.
some material in the middle, and then you put your acoustical treatment on the drywall of the wall outside.
Right.
Well, I didn't put an extra piece of drywall on the inside and left that. I mean, and but I have about 6 inches of material and stuff from rock wool to a thick I have a thick flannel material as well
Mhm.
as some of these things here.
So so that's what I was gonna say. So instead of the other piece of sheetrock, so you've basically got the insulation, and then you just have a covering over the wall in the form of acoustic foam, it looks like.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, well, this is different. Yeah, this is not the this is my record. This recording
Right, right,
space.
right, I
So,
got you.
but yes,
Yeah.
but that's how it is. So basically, it's drywall, about 4 inches thick of Owens Corning insulation.
Mhm.
Then I have a thick flannel material that covers the insulation, so I'm not
Mhm.
breathing in insulation.
Mhm.
Then on top of that, I've got foam,
Yep.
right? And then on my corners, I bought the super thick ones, not the
Mhm.
so usually we have things like this and stuff on the
Yes.
corners, but I bought the really thick ones. So and it works. I have carpet on the floor. It
Yep.
works amazingly, but I don't have a heat issue in there.
Wow.
Yeah, which
You just described there's a studio in town that is probably one of the only ones that if I do have to travel to another studio, it's them. And it's fun because when you go in there, all the walls of the studio, they're squishy because there's no drywall.
mm.
They built it that way on purpose. So it's kind of a fun thing. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because whenever I would listen to like whenever I hear and there's no other wall on it and then the insulation's there, I'm like, this sounds so
Yeah.
good. Why would we put up and
Right.
why would we put up another wall? And it's like, well, of course, you're putting
Because
up the wall.
reflection is the devil.
Well,
Yeah.
right. I mean, you typically put up another wall, one, because again, we're not building a studio typically. It's our
Mm,
house. Two, you need something for the drywall and stability and
yep.
all that stuff. And so but I was like, for this one, I'm not going to. We're gonna leave that out, and it sounds so good
Mm,
in there. Now, also, I mean, all I use in there is a big monitor screen with wireless keyboard and mouse and my mic.
hmm.
So I run all the cables out
Yep.
here and all the computer, everything. Although now I have that little teeny Mac, uh, um, Mac Mini for my computer.
Yes, and the Mac Minis are so quiet. They're lovely.
Yes, they're wonderful. I love it.
Mm. That's
So
what I'm on right now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing. Strange Storm Cat said, "Can you add a vent tube that has sound insulation?" I'm not sure I understand that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what it's saying is, so imagine like so basically what the idea with the system that they sold with the Whisper Room, right, was that it was these tubes and
Mm,
there'd be a fan
Mm.
and the fan was outside of the booth.
Ah,
All right, when you turn on the fan, right, that electricity, that engine
I
makes
see what you're saying.
noise,
Mm-hmm.
and then you run the it would push the air through the tubes or draw the air, and the tubes would be connected inside the booth, et
I
cetera, et
see. I
cetera.
see.
So yeah, it's not typically. I mean, unless you're running like air coming out of your those tubes, it's more so the loudness of the fan
Yeah.
that you know what I mean, or that what's making the noise. I mean, again, unless the air is really
Yeah.
flowing.
Yeah.
So, but you can add whatever. Yeah, I mean, give it a
Yeah.
shot. I
I
mean,
mean,
this is time for ingenuity too. You know.
yeah. I mean, technically, like, there's so many things that can be done
Mhm.
if you have some AC knowledge. I mean, you can run a mini split, you can run like a portable air conditioner, and there's a lot of ways, but again, it's just the sound. And if you ever look in like big um usually commercial construction buildings, in our house, the vents, the registers, right, they're just these little rectangular things with these slots in them. Well, when you look at an industrial level, a vent is a big square, and the square has a gridding, almost like a little maze that runs
Yeah.
around it, and that is actually what helps to baffle the forced air and to make it less noisy. And sometimes you can outfit one of those for your house, and that can be pretty effective. But it's going to require a little bit of modification and
Mm,
doing and talking to people. And yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Dave, I feel your pain, man. That's just Dave says he uses a homemade super moist towelette that goes around his neck. Hey, my wife, my
Sure.
wife got for me for going outside because of the summer,
The
because it's
cooling
so hot.
towels.
She got me this. They make these little rings that sit on your neck, and it's a fan, and you turn it on,
Oh
and it now
yeah.
it is very loud, so you're not going to use that while you're recording, but they do have a lot of different cool little things that you can do
There are.
as well. Okay, so John, I'm hiring you, John. Yes, I know that the new Academy term is starting very soon. Yes, in about a week and a half. Oh, as a beginner, which course should I start with? That is really cool. So the
Very
cool
good.
thing about what we have, right, is when you join, it's in order. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of start at the top and you start working your way around with general knowledge and then going into specific things. And then of course we have our live classes, our curriculum that's going to be set up in order. And then if you miss anything, it's all archived and tied to the curriculum, so it's easy to tell what you should be watching at what time, and if you can't make the classes too. So yeah, very exciting, and we've got a lot of cool things happening at the
Yeah,
academy
yeah,
coming
we're
up.
gonna take a tiny bit of a break, and then
Hmm.
just for right before the 4th of July, and then
Hmm.
full force. We actually have a meeting later this afternoon about some of the things. We can't talk
Yes,
about them yet, but soon,
I
super soon,
know we're
super soon.
being
I
super
know, I know. We both
secretive.
want to. Everybody
The
wants to, but
drama,
it's coming. It's
heightened
coming.
life. Remember, people, drama is heightened life. It's
But yeah,
exciting.
but the heat
Exciting.
domes, they don't last
Yes.
forever. But I mean, we do. Gosh, we go through it. And I mean, honestly, if you are oh, so here's something I've been known to do too, and this might be handy for like the audiobook people and the folks with the marathon long sessions. Just kind of jack the AC down for a couple hours before you're going into something intense,
Hmm.
really cool your house off,
Hmm.
and then the temp will slowly rise up and it'll be a little bit more comfortable for
Hmm.
longer.
Oh,
'Cause-
another thing too is LED lights. So
oh yeah.
depending on what lights you're using and depending on how old your
Yeah.
house is and everything as well,
Hmm.
remember LED lights in your are going to be a lot less hot. They're going to run a lot less hot, so that helps a lot as well.
It
Uh,
really does.
yeah, because you got to think all these things generate heat. Do you know what I mean? Oh, George says, does that mean no class with Gabby tonight?
Oh no, tonight we're happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Tonight there is class. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We're talking about next week.
Yeah, yeah. Next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's wild. You just kind of have to experiment. You have to figure out what works for you. You have to know your limits, and don't be afraid to communicate to a client that, it's a time of year where You got to take some extra breaks. You got to drink more water. Just be mindful
Yeah,
of your
and
times.
don't think it's not all or nothing too. So there's a couple
Yeah.
things, right? You can keep your door cracked if you have a door situation,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you're in a hobo fort, don't be afraid to pull up the bottoms some. I pulled up the bottoms.
Give
I
yourself a little flap. Give your like,
Exactly,
you know.
exactly. Oh, absolutely. And don't forget that the technique I told you all, it works amazingly. So when you, especially in the longer sessions, and again, this will help you for longevity when you're recording. It will keep you fresh. Your mind will be better. Record a page, stop, take a few seconds,
Mm-hmm.
get out of the booth, open the
Yeah.
booth up, walk around for just a moment or two, come back in, record another page, do it again. Keep that kind of rhythm, and your booth will never get to a place, and you'll never get to a place where you're super heated.
Yeah.
Okay. You that helps. So again, it helps also your voice because you can take a sip of water. Especially with long things, you need that to keep going.
You do. You do. And
um
sometimes, we just sweat for our art. It's okay.
John said it's way too hot in London. I've had cooked dinners. They started as salads, but the heat cooked them. Good gracious. Melissa says I have a rechargeable fan in my space.
Mm-hmm.
It goes on after every recording while I'm editing. Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
yes, yes, yes.
Nice, nice, nice.
All
I
right.
also really like the little fans that you can plug into your phone. Some of those are
Mm.
really, really
Mm-hmm.
quiet that you can just kind of
Mm-hmm. You
get a little
misting.
breathe. Yep.
You misting it though. All right, you guys. It was wonderful seeing you. Again, make
Yeah.
sure you hit that like and subscribe button and check us out because our new semester starts, like Gabby said, just right after July 4th. So, we've got exciting and we'll have special going on to join us as well. So, keep your eyes open for that. We'll announce it on the show. And then we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful semester. So, thank you guys for watching. See
Thank you.
everybody tomorrow.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, man.
Is it stop?